Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I appreciate all of you coming to spend your Wednesday afternoon with me here on Outkick the Show, which, as always, is presented by Oddshark. Go to Oddshark for all your gambling and informational-related needs. And I got a crazy idea that a lot of you are going to think is ludicrous, but I want you to follow through on this thesis. Lavar Ball is a genius. Remember, I can't remember if I said it now because I'm focused on my argument. Outkick the Show presented by Oddshark. Go to Oddshark for all your gambling and informational-related needs. Let me explain how. Got several things to talk about. We're going to talk about Lavar Ball being a genius, the O.J. Simpson parole hearing and how it could be impacted by him being caught jerking off, really, and also several different additional stories. We'll talk about the police shooting in Minnesota and the way that the Australian shooting is being covered of a white woman by a Somali-born policeman, and also how Delta is now running scared because they kicked my family off the airplane. But we begin with why Lavar Ball is a genius. Everything in media today is about provoking either love or hate. And I had this kind of broad idea, and it ties in with the success of Netflix of late. And I want to make sense of this, and I want you guys to follow me as best you can. But let me explain. I was standing at the concert for Kings of Leon in Hyde Park in London. And we're at the Kings of Leon concert, and my wife turns to me because there's a big placard there set up. And there's a sign that says Justin Bieber was also performing there at the Hyde Park concert. And she says to me, what do you think the reaction was to Justin Bieber here at Hyde Park? And I said, I guarantee you that everybody showed up and they cheered Justin Bieber like crazy. And she said, why do you think that is? And I said, because Bieber has managed to create a brand surrounding himself where everybody has an opinion of Bieber. Whether you like Bieber or don't like Bieber, if you are out with a bunch of your buddies and you're under the age of, let's say, 40, and you're sitting around and you're a guy or a girl, everybody says, oh, I love Bieber, or oh, I hate Bieber, right? There's nobody who's like, Justin Bieber, I'm kind of mediocre on him. I'm kind of mediocre on whether I like Justin Bieber or whether I don't. Everybody immediately comes in and they say, I love Bieber, his haters are way out of line, or they come in and they say, I hate Bieber, he's a jerk, and they give their reason. Either way, Bieber, for whatever reason, provokes extreme reactions, love and hate. You know who also does that? Kim Kardashian. You know who also did that or does that in the world of sports? Tim Tebow, LeBron James, Johnny Manziel. They're polarizing. Everybody has an opinion. I used to say there are relatively few athletes where we have like 10 or 12 different phone lines on Outkick the Coverage, my morning radio show. I could literally start off tomorrow's show and say, LeBron James is, you guys fill in the blank, and everybody would react. Every line would be lit. Same thing, even I could say, Justin Bieber is, Donald Trump is, right? There are certain people that are cultural fault lines that everybody has an opinion on them. Most of the time, those people have to spend a long time in the public eye. Even though he's young, think about all the things that Justin Bieber has been involved in. LeBron James is only 33, but he's been a public figure for about 17 years, right? 18 years. Everybody has an opinion on them. What's fascinating about Lonzo Ball is all those other names I gave you have played in many massive games in front of millions of people. Tim Tebow, one of the greatest college football quarterbacks of all time. Just about every game he played at Florida was a massive, big deal. Johnny Manziel became really famous, but also won the Heisman Trophy, right? First-round draft pick. These are guys that played a lot of major games, all right, for a long time. What about Lonzo Ball? Until February, the vast majority of you had no opinion whatsoever about Lonzo Ball. And then Lavar Ball started talking. And by the time Lavar Ball finished talking, everybody had an opinion. And I don't know if it was intentional by Lavar Ball or not, but he turned his son into the NBA's version of the Kardashians. Kim Kardashian is the best comparison in the city of Los Angeles to Lonzo Ball right now. Think about it. And Lavar Ball. What has Kim Kardashian ever done? She's provoked reactions. That's it. What is the entire Kardashian cavalcade of family? Kourtney, Khloe, Kim, Scott Disick, Rob Kardashian, Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, Kris Jenner, all of them provoke reaction, right? If I say to you right now, certainly if you're a girl, but even if you're a guy, what do you think of Kim Kardashian? Everybody immediately responds. You have an opinion of Kim Kardashian. If I say to you, and you're a girl, what do you think of Lamar Odom? Just about every girl has an opinion of Lamar Odom, not because he was a basketball player at all. Do you know why? Because he was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Because people know him from the Kardashian reality show, which runs all day long on E! They have created brands surrounding themselves which lead to people either loving or hating them. I thought of this brilliantly on Lavar Ball's behalf because I looked at the ratings that my guy Jason McIntyre at the Big Lead posted for NBA Summer League. NBA Summer League is kind of a non-entity, right? It's something that takes place when there's no other major sport going on. The ratings for Lonzo Ball's NBA Summer League Laker games were off the chart. The highest in the history of the NBA Summer League. Why are they so high? Because the people who love Lonzo Ball want to watch and say, see, I told you so, this guy's going to be incredible, he's the next Magic Johnson. And the people who hate Lonzo Ball and Lavar Ball want to watch and say, see, I told you so, Lavar Ball has been writing checks that his boy can't cash. They are the perfect story in an NBA season. I said this morning on the show that I think Lonzo Ball is the best addition to the NBA since LeBron James back in 2003. That is, there's more interest in how Lonzo Ball is going to do now than any rookie in the history of the NBA going all the way back to LeBron James. Now, if he's a flash in the pan and he ended up not being very good, he'll just go into the dustbin of has-been NBA players and he'll kind of disappear and his dad won't get any attention. But if he ends up being a really good basketball player, and that's what I would bet on right now, then Lavar Ball is going to look like a genius because he's got all these casual fans coming in to pay attention to whether or not Lavar Ball is going to have a son who's as good as he says Lonzo is, and everybody's got a rooting interest. And what you need to keep in mind, I give media advice all the time, it's not about whether people are blandly inoffended by you. We are past the era of bland inoffensiveness. For a long time, television and major media was about putting figures out there who nobody really loved, but also nobody really hated. It was indifferent media. It was media as a way to avoid trying to hurt somebody's feelings. Really kind of fascinating. When I started doing radio back in 2008, I went in for a programmer meeting, and I remember being told, you know what, you got to be careful about what you say because you might alienate listeners. And I said, really? The way that I think is alienated listeners don't exist. If you're strong enough to alienate a listener, they keep coming back. Because love and hate is two sides of the same coin. If you're rooting against Lonzo Ball desperately, you're watching. If you're rooting for Lonzo Ball desperately, you're watching. What Lavar Ball did brilliantly, I don't know how much of it was intentional, was create a dynamic whereby everybody cares about Lonzo. If Lavar Ball never speaks, nobody knows who Lonzo Ball is right now. He's a guy who played on UCLA and got beaten by Kentucky in the Sweet 16, and nobody had an opinion at all. That would be the truth. That would be 100% the truth. Nobody would care about him. Lonzo would be an unwritten enigma that nobody cared about. People say, Lonzo was known. Like this guy right here. Lonzo was known. Lonzo was not known. People didn't have an opinion of Lonzo Ball until his dad started to talk. Now, you can say it's not good. You can say the Kardashians are a bad look. You can say this represents everything that's wrong with modern American society. But what you can't deny is that Lavar Ball created two tribes. The I hate Lonzo and Lavar tribe and the I love Lonzo and Lavar tribe. And both of those tribes really are the same thing because it's all about people having interest. And I wouldn't have thought about this if I hadn't been standing there watching the Kings of Leon play with my wife. That's an interesting phrase. Play with my wife beside me, not play with my wife, although they're good-looking guys. She might like them. While we're standing there, and I'm thinking to myself, because Bieber had just been playing there, everybody says they hate Justin Bieber, right? I hear it all the time. Oh, I hate Justin Bieber. Everybody needs to have a strong opinion about Justin Bieber. Everybody needs to have a strong opinion about Kim Kardashian. But you know what the people who hate Justin Bieber and Kim Kardashian would do if Justin Bieber and Kim Kardashian were in the same restaurant as them? They would 100% rush right up and beg for a picture. They would rush right up and they would beg for an autograph. Hate doesn't really exist. The concept of love and hate is wrong. There's interest and there's disinterest. And in this modern era that we live in now, all that matters is interest. Disinterest isn't a thing. Disinterest is what the vast majority of people and media receive for what they write, say, or do. Interest is gold bullion. Doesn't matter why that interest exists. Interest is the coin of the realm. People make fun of Skip Bayless. I think Skip Bayless says a lot of ridiculous things. I don't think that Skip Bayless's opinions are particularly smart. But think about how crazy this is from a sports media perspective. When Skip Bayless says that LeBron James is overrated, when LeBron James has a triple-double, do you know what people do? They get on Twitter and they go call Skip Bayless an idiot. Skip Bayless doesn't play in the game. Skip Bayless doesn't even work at a station that puts on the NBA. Yet people care so much about Skip Bayless's position on LeBron James that the moment LeBron James wins, the first thing they think isn't, man, LeBron had a great game. It's, I'm going to go tell Skip Bayless about how good of a game LeBron James had and how much of an idiot he is. He wins. It's interest versus disinterest. It's not love and hate, because love and hate are artificial emotions. Everybody feels like they need to have an emotion about Justin Bieber. If you want to deconstruct the way our media works today, everybody wants to feel like they need to have an opinion about Justin Bieber or the Kardashians or any of these other people, right? In reality, all they need is to provoke interest. If you get enough people interested in what you say, do, play, anything, you get filthy rich. And so Lavar Ball recognized that a lot of people out there are obsessed with being liked. It's normal to worry about whether or not people like you, right? It's a normal feeling. I said this before. I think the best thing that happened to me in terms of the way that I think is, I was born and raised in Nashville. At my core, I'm a pretty nice guy. Like, people meet me and they're like, oh, Clay Travis is a really nice guy. But what I got comfortable with when I went away to college on the East Coast was most people on the East Coast, in my opinion, as a geographic group, are assholes. And they don't worry as much on the East Coast about whether or not you like them. And what I got comfortable with was sharing my opinions, having people like, agree, disagree, whatever they are, and not really worried about that at all. And that's rare, especially even more so in a social media era. How many people in the NBA are comfortable, players now, are comfortable with being disliked? This ties in with the concept of villainy, right? It used to be there were guys who embraced the role of the villain. Reggie Miller was the villain compared to Michael Jordan. Patrick Ewing, on some level, was the villain. Mayweather and McGregor, one-on-one combat people seem to embrace that idea because they get it, right? They get that the more interest they provoke, the more money they make. It's not about being liked or disliked. It's about interest. Both love and hate make Mayweather and McGregor money, right? If people are like, man, I fucking love Floyd Mayweather, they're going to watch. If they're like, I fucking hate Floyd Mayweather, they're going to watch. And they get it because when you have a one-on-one battle, if you hate a guy, you'll pay money to hope to see him get his ass kicked. If you love him, you put money on it because you want to see him win. Well, the MMA is a perfect sport. I mean, they make it, in wrestling, obviously, WWE, they make it an art form in some sense. I'm sitting there watching the WWE on Monday, Raw, with my 9 and 6-year-olds, and I'm like, my God, this is like Shakespeare. The way these guys react, the way they emote, their soliloquies, right? They come walking out with the microphone, and they take it, and they're standing there by themselves, and they spin, and they turn in the ring, and they address the crowd. It's Shakespearean, right? If you study at all drama, that's essentially what they are doing with their monologues. They walk around. Somebody just said The Rock, the greatest ever. The Rock is the greatest ever. They have these long-winded monologues, these soliloquies about their brilliance, this internal view into their mind and the way that they are thinking. And what does that do? It provokes in the crowd either love or hate, which really is a function of interest or disinterest, right? Love and hate are the same emotion because in both love and hate, you care. You're interested, right? The worst thing you can do to somebody is not hate them. It's be disinterested in them. If your ex-girlfriend dumps you, the way to show her that you don't care at all is not to hate her anymore. It's not to work against her. It's to manage to not care at all about her. Indifference is the ultimate insult. And so what Lavar Ball did is he managed to create interest. And in a modern media universe where you have so many people trying to talk at you, so many people trying to sell you, there are so many different television shows that I want to watch. All that matters is not love and hate. It's interest versus disinterest. And for the NBA, Lonzo Ball is now the most interesting player to enter the league since LeBron James. And to have it happen in LA, the nation's second biggest media market, is an absolute coup for the NBA. Adam Silver may not recognize it yet, but what LeVar Ball did to create his son's image and create rooting interest for the Lakers again is worth billions of dollars in the long run to the NBA. Now, you can say it wasn't a conscious decision. Somebody just said not a conscious decision, just who LeVar Ball is. I think there's probably some truth to that. I think it's more about what LeVar Ball is like than it is what he was consciously deciding. I've kind of come to this conclusion just trying to be me as authentic as possible. I can't control whether people like or dislike my opinions. But what I have found is that people are interested in my opinions, right? I don't lose because people love or hate me. I win every time. What I lose is if somebody turns on my radio show and listens for 3 hours and they're like, man, that really sucked. It didn't make me think. It didn't challenge me. It didn't make me like or dislike Clay Travis. It didn't make me like or dislike the people that he talked about. We're in a big game, right? And it's all competition everywhere in the media. And the number one thing that everybody is competing for in the media today is interest. And if you can create interest, you win, right? That goes for everybody, whether it's a league, whether it's an individual business, whether it's an individual speaker like me. You're all in a battle for interest versus disinterest in the modern media. And that goes for stories too, right? Everybody who has a television show, what do? If you're good at it, or a radio show, or you talk to anybody else, what your real talent is in seeing stories and figuring out what people care about. That's why I love there's people out there right now, I guarantee you when I finish the show, and probably in these comments, there are people saying, why are you talking about Lonzo Ball? I don't care about Lonzo Ball. You know when I first started hearing that in the media? Brett Favre. Remember Brett Favre retired or didn't retire 7 or 8 different times? And every time there's a huge media circus, everybody's like, what's Brett Favre going to do? Who's he going to play for? And then very soon, everybody started saying, why does everybody talk about Brett Favre so much? I don't care. Why does everybody talk about Tim Tebow so much? I don't care. Why does everybody talk about LeBron James so much? I don't care. Why does everybody talk about Lonzo Ball so much? I don't care. You know what I know? You do care. Because I can look at what you read on the internet. I can peel back your brain and talk about the difference between what you claim to care about and what you actually care about. You know what you actually care about? Good-looking girls, scandal, sex, violence. You know what you don't care about? People doing nice things. I always like to use this as an example. I'm going to put it in the next book I write. St. Jude. Some of you may have heard it. Memphis Children's Hospital. Amazing place. Does incredible work. Got a bunch of readers down there. They called me, contacted me. They said, Clay, we got an incredible story for you. I said, I can't wait to hear it. They said, we are going to allow the NFL is going to allow a cancer patient to announce a pick up on the stage at the NFL draft. Okay? I said, that's amazing. I said, this kid, you're going to love him. 14 years old, huge NFL fan, had to manage to overcome amputated leg, has fought off cancer multiple times. You're going to tell his story. We're going to let you break it. I said, man, that's fantastic. I can't wait to do it. Wrote the story. Story went up. tweeted it out, Facebooked it out, sat back, pulled up Google Analytics on my television screen, waited to see what people were going to click on. Little bit of action. Pop, pop, pop. I can see the nation reacting to this story. There's a few people showing up. That's about it. Almost nobody reacts to this great story about a cancer patient who's going to get to announce an NFL draft pick. Everybody says they care about great stories. Nobody reacts. Same day. Guess what happened? Aaron Murray. Aaron Murray got a new girlfriend. Aaron Murray's new girlfriend had bikini pics up. Grab some of her pictures that she's put up on Twitter and Instagram, pop them up on the screen. Next article that goes up on Outkick that day. You guys aren't going to believe how hot Aaron Murray's new girlfriend is. Georgia quarterback. Site almost gets knocked offline. Everybody's pouring in. All the traffic comes surging in. I'm sitting there, just sitting here like smoking a cigar, making money, just watching the dollars pile up. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. And I've learned it over and over again. People say that they care about things that they don't care about. They claim that they're better than they actually are. Dudes want to see hot chicks. They want excitement. I put up yesterday about my family getting kicked off the Delta flight. I'm like, I'm curious what the reaction is going to be to this story. How many people are going to click through to read about my family getting kicked off Delta? Damn thing explodes. It explodes in traffic. Still exploding. It's gone viral. Hundreds of thousands of people have read it. People want conflict. They want drama. They want to laugh. And they want to look at hot chicks. That's the truth. And so you can spend a lot of time complaining about what gets covered. I don't ever do that. Because by and large, a lot of that stuff, Tim Tebow, everybody has an opinion on him. LeBron James, everybody has an opinion. Everybody's going to have an opinion on Lonzo Ball. I'm going to talk a lot about it. Because even the people who are saying, why are you talking about Lonzo Ball so much? They care. They may claim that they don't care, but they care. I can look into your brain. That's the other thing. Like, people think all the time, every now and then somebody gets mad at me, right? Like Tack McKinley came after me because I made fun of him taking his grandma's picture up on the stage. DeMarcus Cousins came after me because I said he's going to get arrested within 5 years. People are like, oh, this is going to really do Clay Travis in. I'm going to publicize what Clay Travis said, and I'm going to ridicule him to the high heavens. You know what happens? More people care. Like, I'm not perfect. I admit to you when I get things wrong. I was sold a bill of goods on Ronda Rousey, and I bought it. You guys remember if I came on this show, I said, look, I bought the idea that Ronda Rousey was a lot more of a badass than she was. I was wrong. That was on me. Nobody else to blame but me. My opinion was wrong there. If I'm 100% wrong or I get a fact wrong, I come on, it bothers me. I come on and I say, I got this wrong. If I get an opinion wrong, it happens. I bet on pretty much every game that I talk about. I'm right about 58% of the time the last several years. That's pretty good. Doesn't mean I'm flawless. People don't punish you for being wrong. I think I heard Colin Cowherd say this. People don't punish you for being wrong. They punish you for being boring. And a lot of people don't understand that. So for Lavar Ball, it may not have been intentional, but he broke it down for me. As I'm standing in line there, I try to explain. I'm watching Kings of Leon with my wife in Hyde Park. And it hit me. It just crystallized for me. I've been focused on a love or hate dynamic. Love or hate are both good. But the way I'm thinking about it is actually wrong. It's not love or hate. It's interest or disinterest. And frankly, given what his son accomplished, which was virtually nothing, right? UCLA went to the Sweet 16. Big fucking deal. UCLA goes to the Sweet 16 a lot. Lavar Ball managed, in a sport that most people don't care that much about, college basketball, in a sport where his son didn't even advance that far. He didn't play an Elite Eight game. He didn't play a Final Four game. He didn't play in a championship game. Lavar Ball managed to make his son the biggest story in the NBA for a draft pick since LeBron James. And that, my friends, is worth its weight in gold. Okay, a couple of other stories. O.J. Simpson is probably going to get paroled tomorrow. O.J. Simpson is going in front of the parole board in Las Vegas area, Clark County, I believe, Nevada, and he has a decent chance. Guys, he has a decent chance to get paroled. The problem that he's facing is that according to the Daily Mail, he got caught, and I can't believe I'm having to say this, he got caught jerking off in his prison cell. So let's give a couple of applauses here. O.J. Simpson's 70 years old. I don't know how often your average 70-year-old dude jerks off, But I think if I were in prison, I would jerk off all the time. I don't know what else you have to do in prison but jerk off. Like, of all the things that you could do in prison, jerking off seems like it's probably the best use of your time, right? When you really break it down, like, what else are you going to do? I could do a bunch of push-ups. I could go lay on the bench press machine in my 1 hour where I'm in the yard able to work out. I'd probably jerk off all the time. Why would you not? I mean, first of all, it says that you're not allowed to jerk off in the federal penitentiary. That might be the most cruel and inhumane treatment that I've ever heard of. Imagine if you got life in prison and every time you jerked off once you got life in prison, that was a mark against you. Like, has the Supreme Court ruled on this? It seems like it's an unfair thing to tell a guy that when he's in prison, he can't jerk off anymore. Like, that seems like cruel and inhumane treatment. If you told me right now, Clay Travis, you can't jerk off anymore for the rest of your life, I'm not sure that I could go on living. I mean, I'm married. I got to jerk off. Like some of you single guys, maybe you could still go out and pick up girls. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't jerk off anymore. And much less if I was in prison and I couldn't jerk off anymore. At least now I can watch TV and like read newspapers, get on the internet. Like, what do you do in prison if you can't jerk off? So, one, that's number one. Number two, 70-year-old dude, got to give him some props. Blood flow still working well for OJ. The juice still got it. Juice is still loose. Juice can still make plays. And anyway, I think OJ is going to get parole. And that's going to be a huge story because he's going to have a lot more time to go track down the people who killed Nicole Brown Simpson and to go track down Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman's killers. Really big deal for him to be able to get out of prison and still be able to go track down the people who killed Ronald Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson. Probably the same people, honestly, who wrote racial slurs on LeBron James's house. It's now been 2 months since LeBron James allegedly had racial slurs written on his Brentwood mansion right down the street from where O.J. Simpson lived. And I got to be honest with you. Nobody else is talking about this because I don't think it happened. After 2 months of an investigation, no suspects, no surveillance video, no nothing, in one of the nicest areas of town, only person who could have done this and pulled it off and gotten away with it is Manti Te'o's girlfriend. All right, final thoughts. Delta, running scared on the lice story. They've given some statements to people. They've acknowledged that they don't have any actual policy in place on the lice story. And that, my friends, I hope they're going to adjust the policy so no more 6-year-olds getting medical exams in customs while they're trying to come back into the country. Also, police shootings. I would encourage you guys to pay attention to the way that the coverage occurs for the police shooting of the white Australian tourist who was shot by a Somali police officer in Minneapolis. If you reverse the races there, that story is insanely popular. There are protests all over the city of Minneapolis. Instead, a white woman gets shot, as statistically happens much more frequently, right? People don't understand this, but I keep hitting it again and again. Police shooting is not a white and black problem. White people are much more likely, according to numbers, to get shot than black people. And if you consider violent crime rates, black people are actually less likely to get shot as a percentage of violent crime than they would be. You know, this is a crazy stat. Nobody else seems to want to share. You know, black people represent 12% of the United States population and commit over half of all murders in this country. Facts are racist now, evidently. I don't think you can address issues in the country unless you look at the actual root data. Instead of worrying about somebody's anecdotal feelings about how they're being treated, I like to look at the actual data. Did you know that? I didn't know that until I looked at the official FBI statistics. I didn't know that until the last couple of years. Black people, representing 12% of the population, commit over half the murders in this country. It's an unbelievable statistic. They also represent 2, 3, 4 times and 5 times violent crime statistics. So again, when you look at this data, you got to consider it across the whole context of life, and the media has to do a better job of covering this in like a reasonable fashion. I use facts, and yeah, a lot of people are like, go check my Twitter feed right now. People are like, oh, it's racist to say that. It's racist to point out that black people are 12% of the population and commit over half the murders. The reason why I use murders as the fact is because we know murders happen, right? A lot of crimes we don't know if they happen. Rape is a good example. Every time what happens with rape, the first thing that a police officer has to do is investigate whether or not it happened. Was there or was there not a rape? Was it consensual? Was it not? What was involved? What were the details? Did they have sex at all? When a body shows up with bullets in it or stab wounds, we have a pretty good sense that it wasn't done by that individual. If you get shot multiple times, you probably didn't commit suicide. If you get stabbed multiple times, you probably didn't commit suicide, right? So violent crime, in the 2015 FBI statistics, black people represent 12% of the population, commit 51% of all murders. So my argument on this about Black Lives Matter, and I continue to hammer it home again and again and again, is the media has been complicit in allowing more black people to die because the number one protector of black lives in this country is police officers. They are the number one protectors, and if you look at the cities where Black Lives Matter activists have been the most active, the murder rate has gone up the most. And that's not a conservative position unless you consider fired FBI Director James Comey by Donald Trump to be a conservative, because that's the first place that I saw that data. And I've since studied it. FBI believes it's true. I believe it's true. So consider it, contemplate it. All right, a few more questions. Any questions out there? I'll do rapid fire, and then I got to go take care of my kids. They don't have lice anymore. At least I'm told they don't have lice. I haven't seen the Baltimore story. Game of Thrones predictions. My prediction for the year on Game of Thrones is that Queen Cersei is going to end the season by killing Jaime. Jaime is going to try to kill her. I think that what's going to happen is Arya is going to go to the kingdom. She's going to start to appear as all of the different people that Cersei has killed over time, and she's going to so drive her insane that she's going to turn into the Mad Queen, and then Jaime is going to try to kill her, fail to kill her, and Jaime is going to die, which will then set us up for season 6, Battle of the Bitches between Daenerys Targaryen and Queen Cersei, to see who ends up on the Iron Throne at the end of Game of Thrones. Additional questions. R. Kelly, I hope he's not holding people slaves. What a ridiculous story. I didn't think R. Kelly could top the fact that he peed on all over all these underage girls, allegedly. But now he's evidently got these girls lined up. He's got a harem. Who knew? I mean, how much money did R. Kelly make? I have no idea. But what a crazy story that is. I haven't seen The Bachelorette very much this year because so many of the games, so many of the start of The Bachelorette season, it overlapped. So I'm looking forward more so to The Bachelor in Paradise. I'm going to watch that. I just haven't had time. I've been out of the country. I did watch a British show. I've already forgot the name of it, but it's a lot like The Bachelor, and it just dominated. Anybody here from Britain? Is there a single person commenting from Britain? It was phenomenal. This show over in Britain was extraordinary, and it was like their version of The Bachelor, and it's on every night. It's not Big Brother, but that's the truth. All right. Any additional questions? I have not yet heard officially from Delta. I will hopefully hear from Delta at some point. I hope they address their policy, change it, make it the same as the CDC, which is if you have lice at school, you finish the school day. A lot of school districts don't even care about it because a cold is more dangerous than lice. I know a lot of people hear lice and they think, oh, this is so scary. I looked it up. I've done all the research. Just about any person who's in a position of prominence will tell you if you had to choose between someone with a cold sitting next to you or someone with lice, the cold is much more dangerous on an airplane flight. Sometimes sick people have to travel. We found out halfway over the Atlantic. I just wanted to get home with my family, and I hope Delta will adjust that policy and say you're allowed to complete your travel. Why do I always pull my shirt up? I don't know, because it sort of sinks down. I don't know. I guess some people like to get obsessed with what I do with my shirt. Sometimes I pull it up because it starts to sink down, and I think I'm more comfortable with the shirt up on my shoulders. I don't know. And nobody's perfect. No, I haven't seen Barstool taking shots. I don't get it. Like, it's a weird obsession. Too much muscle. I think, when you got triceps like these, it's hard to rein them in, to be frank with you. That's the truth. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate all that you do. We'll be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, Fox Sports Radio, 250 a.m. FM stations nationwide, as well as, yes, we're adding, by the way, as well as SiriusXM Channel 83. We're adding tons of DBAP, tons of product on Outkick. We're going to be relaunching when we go with Outkick Premium. We're going to be relaunching all of our gear and everything else. We're in the process of building new websites. Mid-August is the defined hope for date. We're also going to be doing, for people in Nashville, a really big Outkick event in Nashville. We're planning it right now. My crew at CAA is trying to put together a big event in Nashville. So if you happen to be in the Nashville area, you've got the potential to do a really cool event that we're trying to set up right now. Love all you guys. I will not be in the pants business. We'll be live tomorrow, 250 AM FM stations nationwide, Sirius XM channel 83. Don't be a pussy. Hashtag DBAP. More gear coming. Thanks to you guys. Share this. Subscribe to the podcast. I'll see you tomorrow early in the morning. See y'all.